Part 39. God Level Tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tien Taido. Chapter 384. You are surrounded by us. Don't try to escape, you can't escape. Instead of making a futile resistance, it is better to surrender directly. The voice of the pirate leader came out directly, resounding throughout the world, and the voice was filled with incomparable arrogance. The tourists on the Harmony of the Seas heard the voice of the pirate at this moment, and their faces suddenly changed again. Ah! What should I do? What should I do? It's the pirates of the Caribbean. The pirate leader is the murderous double-blade demon Tech. Double-blade demon Tech? My God, it's him. Run. There were screams of horror in the crowd again. Someone recognized the leader of the Caribbean pirates. He was a guy called Tech. The double-blade demon was his nickname, just because he often carried two scimitars on his back. When both were taken out, it was time for him to kill people. No one could escape the killing of his two scimitars. The notorious reputation of this double-blade demon made these tourists panic, and they even hesitated about how to escape. What are you afraid of? We have Captain Jack. Captain Jack is a level 3 berserker. And we have so many security guards. The fact that the Harmony of the Seas can sail on this route unimpeded for so long does not mean it has no defense at all. Calm down, don't panic. Of course, some people panicked, while others were calmer. Li Hao also saw that the leader of the pirates, the double-blade demon Tech, was sturdy and bald, with some strange patterns on his head, like tattoos, and looked ferocious. This double-blade demon Tech was also a level 3 berserker. Li Hao directly sensed the power in Tech's body. He was a level 3 berserker, stronger than Jack. But the next moment, Li Hao made another sound of surprise. Li Hao's sight fell on a thin man next to this Tech. The man looked quite handsome, with sharp features and white hair, giving people a very strange feeling. This man looked young, but he was a little evil. He stood next to this Tech and didn't speak. However, Li Hao's consciousness fell on this man, and he clearly felt a strange fluctuation in this man's body and the hidden power. Li Hao's eyes suddenly condensed and fell on this man. This man is not an ordinary person. Judging from the fluctuation that Li Hao just felt, this man is at least as powerful as the late stage of the Jindan realm, and is similar to a cultivator, but the other party seems to be a little different. In foreign countries, there is no profession of cultivator, only berserkers, vampires, witches, saints and the like. When Li Hao looked at this man, the man's face suddenly condensed. Inexplicably, he suddenly felt a throbbing feeling. Tech, go back to where you came from. This is not the place for you to run wild. At this time, a voice came directly from the Harmony of the Seas, and the figure of Captain Jack also appeared on the deck of the Harmony of the Seas. Hey, isn't this Jack? Long time no see. I didn't expect that you would become the captain of the Harmony of the Seas. Otherwise, join my Caribbean pirates. I will give you the position of deputy captain. At this time, the Tech saw Jack, his eyes condensed, and he sneered again. I won't call a deserter a brother. Captain Jack said sternly again. Humph. You don't know how to raise me. I advise you to surrender quickly, you can't protect this cruise ship. The Tech snorted again and said directly. When the people around heard the conversation between Captain Jack and Tech, they were shocked again. Captain Jack and the pirate leader Tech clearly knew each other. In fact, it was indeed the case. Jack and Tech have known each other for many years, and they met in the Marine Corps. They were comrades in arms, but when they were performing a special mission, something happened. Tech betrayed Jack and his team, which led to the failure of the mission and Jack's retirement. He changed his identity and became the captain of the Harmony of the Seas. You won't know if you can protect it until you do it. Just use whatever skills you have. The crew of our Harmony of the Seas is not a pushover. Jack said in a deep voice after hearing what the other party said. Fire! Tech shouted angrily again. As Tech's voice fell, the pirates behind him pulled the gun turrets loaded with shells. Boom! Suddenly, a series of roars shook the earth. One by one, the shells were fired directly at the Harmony of the Seas, but this time, they were not aimed at the side of the Harmony of the Seas, and there was no bluffing, but they were really fired directly at the hull of the Harmony of the Seas. Ah! The cannon is coming. Oh my God, what should we do? When the tourists saw the scene and saw the cannonball coming directly towards them, they screamed. It happened in a flash. However, just when these shells were about to hit the hull of the Harmony of the Seas, an invisible barrier suddenly appeared around the Harmony of the Seas. Everyone was shocked to see that the cannonball stopped directly in mid-air at this moment, and a ripple filled the space. The next moment, those shells exploded directly, but the huge explosion force was directly blocked by this barrier. When the guy opposite, Tyke, saw this scene, he couldn't help but frown again. Huh? I didn't expect it to have a defense system. Tech said in a deep voice. These shells of yours do not pose the slightest threat to us. Jack also said proudly. This barrier was the defense force of the Harmony of the Seas, which he had just activated directly. Go. Tyr, open that defense for me. At this time, that Tyke shouted directly to his men again. Suddenly, powerful auras suddenly emerged from these pirates. Most of these pirates were berserkers, some were first level and some were second level. They burst out with powerful combat power and blasted directly towards the Harmony of the Seas. Boom boom boom. Immediately afterwards, there were shocking collision sounds that continued to sound. Bang bang bang. The pirate burst out with violent force and blasted towards the side, but directly hit the barrier of the Harmony of the Seas. Huge ripples kept appearing one after another. Even though the powerful forces kept hitting the barrier, there was no crack in the barrier and it remained motionless. Huh? Get out of the way. I'll do it. When that Tyke saw this scene, he shouted sharply again. Boom. The next moment, in this Tyke's body, there was an extremely powerful aura instantly generated, violent energy and blood, amazing power. The momentum of this Tyke's body still reached the extreme. And at this moment, Tyke pulled out the two scimitars on his back in his hands. The scimitars shone with blood-colored light, revealing a bloodthirsty edge. These two scimitars are not ordinary objects, but two powerful magic weapons. Many people died under these two scimitars, so these two scimitars absorbed a lot of blood, and even more some changes occurred and he became more bloodthirsty. With the powerful momentum of this Tyke and the addition of these two scimitars, the momentum of this Tyke has reached an extremely astonishing level. At the next moment, Tyke held two scimitars and slashed directly on the barrier. Bang! There was an astonishing roaring sound. Click! Immediately afterwards, everyone saw that the barrier on the cruise ship actually had a crack at this moment. Click click click. Then, the cracks became more and more numerous and began to spread around. The defense of Harmony of the Seas was directly broken by this tech. The third-level berserker is indeed extremely powerful and terrifying. Kill. The leader is awesome. It's broken. Everyone, hurry up. Come on, those women belong to me. Dot. As the Tyke opened a hole in the Harmony of the Seas defense, the pirates suddenly became excited, letting out exciting screams and bursting out with powerful force, rushing forward. There are rich people on this ship, either rich or noble, and there are many ladies and girls. For these pirates, it is an irresistible temptation. As a result, these pirates rushed towards the Harmony of the Seas, roaring, as if they had been given blood. Don't panic, everyone. Go back to your room. We will protect you. When Jack saw this scene, he immediately said to the tourists on the boat. Immediately, he shouted directly at those subordinates. "Follow me and kill." As soon as the words fell, Jack's body burst out with an extremely powerful force of energy and blood. His body was filled with an unparalleled aura, and his whole body became stronger. Level 3 Berserker, Berserk. Jack rushed to the front and faced the pirates. Behind Jack, figures followed, bursting out with powerful force and rushing forward. Boom! Bang bang bang! Suddenly, the whole scene became a little chaotic. Jack rushed to the front and in an instant he blew a pirate into the air, making him vomit blood and fly backwards. It was unstoppable. "Jack, let me come and meet you." At this time, the tyke said angrily again, and rushed directly towards Jack. Boom! The next moment, the two figures collided directly with each other, and an extremely fierce battle broke out. "Tech! Die for me!" Jack shouted angrily. "You are the one who died. Take my knife." On the opposite side, Tech showed no sign of weakness. Both of them were level 3 berserkers. They were constantly attacking each other with powerful forces. Their bodies were constantly changing their positions, from the boat to the water, and from here to the other side. The two people over there, whether they were pirates or the security guards on the ship, were all driven away. Those tourists also listened to Jack's words and returned to their rooms one after another, but they could still see the battle scene through the balcony windows. They were horrified and worried, praying that Captain Jack and his men could beat back the pirates. Jack and Tech were once comrades in arms and were familiar with each other. At this moment, both of them were level 3 berserkers. If they were only based on their real strength, they were almost on par with each other, but at this moment, Tech had two scimitars in his hand, two bloodthirsty scimitars. It was these scimitars that gave Tech a slight advantage in the battle between Jack and Tech. Every time Jack attacked, he was blocked by Tech, but every time Tech's scimitar was chopped out, Jack could not bear its sharpness. After several fights, Jack had some injuries on his body, and even his clothes were torn and blood flowed from his body. Boom! At a certain moment, with the two scimitars of Tech chopped down again. Bang! Jack's body was directly knocked back, and two hideous wounds appeared on Jack's body. Ha ha! No matter how powerful your fists are, they can't compare to the sharpness of my two swords. You are not my opponent, Jack. Prepare to die. At this time, the tyke said to Jack in a stern voice, his voice was full of arrogance, and then he moved his body, bursting out with amazing power, holding the two swords and slashing at Jack again. Jack's face suddenly changed, and he quickly made a defensive force to protect his body. Bang! But the next moment, the opponent's two swords slashed down, and the violent force directly hit him. Jack's body was knocked back once. Puff! A stream of blood spurted out directly from Jack's mouth, and Jack's face turned pale instantly, and even his breath was a little weak. Ah! Captain Jack lost. Lost, Captain Jack lost. Oh my God, Captain Jack lost to the pirates. It's over now. It's over, barbecue. The tourists on the Harmony of the Seas saw the scene through the balcony window, and they were shocked again, and their hearts had fallen to the bottom. Even Captain Jack was defeated. Then no one can resist these pirates. This is really over. If they fall into the hands of these pirates, they will definitely live a life worse than death, especially women, who will definitely suffer inhuman torture and their end will definitely be miserable. At this moment, even the security guards on the ship who were fighting with the pirates were shocked by the scene, their faces changed instantly, and they were instantly hit by a huge shock. It's over, even their captain was defeated, can they still resist? You know, Captain Jack is the strongest on their ship, and even he was defeated, their defense battle is likely to end in failure. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tien Tien Taido. Chapter 385. When everyone saw that Captain Jack had failed, their faces were filled with horror. You know, Captain Jack is a level 3 berserker, the strongest person on the Harmony of the Seas. If even Captain Jack was defeated, then the entire Harmony of the Seas would be finished. Everyone's hearts instantly fell to the bottom, and they even felt some fear and despair. I said, "You are not my opponent. Jack, die." But at this moment, Tech looked at Jack coldly again and said arrogantly. Boom. Tech held two scimitars in his hands, with bloodthirsty edges on them, and was filled with extremely powerful momentum. He burst out with pure power and blasted directly towards Jack. Jack had many injuries on his body at this moment, and his clothes were stained red with blood. His face was pale, and even his breath became a little weak. At this moment, seeing Tech blasting towards him again, Jack's face suddenly changed again. Jack wanted to use his body's strength, but he couldn't lift it at all. He felt powerless again. Is he going to die here today? Suddenly, Jack's fear disappeared, and he looked in a direction. In that direction, there stood a proud young man. That was his boss. His boss was not an ordinary person either, but a warlock of Dawa. Although Jack didn't know the specific cultivation of his boss of Dawa, he had an idea at this moment, that is, his boss would definitely not ignore him. Jack believed that his boss would definitely take action. In fact, Li Hao was indeed ready to take action. This Harmony of the Seas was his own, and he would definitely be responsible for these tourists and would definitely not let these pirates do whatever they wanted. So, Li Hao was also ready to come out. However, at this time, Tech, the leader of the Caribbean pirates, right? I advise you to get out of here. With me here, you are doomed to return empty-handed today. An arrogant voice sounded again at this moment, and the voice was filled with a strong sense of confidence. Everyone looked over and saw a man in casual clothes walking out. He was a middle-aged man who looked to be in his 50s or 60s, and also a foreign man with thick eyebrows and big eyes, but he was filled with an unusual momentum. At this moment, everyone's eyes fell on this man. Who is he? Why does he look a little familiar? It seems that I have seen him somewhere. He actually stood up at this time. I really admire his courage. A series of surprised voices suddenly sounded. Even Li Hao was stunned for a moment, his eyes fell on this man, and his consciousness sensed him. Li Hao's brows wrinkled slightly. This man is not an ordinary person, and he is even more powerful than Jack. However, Li Hao did not think that the man who stood out could beat the Tech holding two swords, and even if he won, there was still a guy standing behind him who had not made a move. Huh? Are you looking for death? At this moment, when Tech saw the man coming out, his eyes condensed again, and he said to the man in a stern voice. Looking for death? I don't think so. The man said directly again. As his voice fell, a powerful force suddenly released from his body. Boom! The powerful momentum burst out from this man, and in an instant, this man also had a powerful blood force, and the whole person became a little crazy. Buzz buzz buzz. The violent force made the whole space shake. Oh my god, he is also a level 3 berserker. He seems to be even more powerful than Captain Jack. I know him, he is Colonel Patton of Romantic Country. What? Colonel Patton of Romantic Country? No wonder he is so powerful. Level 3 berserkers are not everywhere. At this moment, when this man burst out the power of his body, exclamations continued to ring out, and some people even recognized this man. He was a colonel of Romantic Country, named Patton, and he was also a well-known big shot, and he could even be searched on the internet. No wonder he has this strength, he is a level 3 berserker, and the power he exerted is even stronger than that of Jack just now. The Patton in front of him has reached the point where he is one step away from entering the level 4 berserker. We are saved. It's Colonel Patton from the Romantic Kingdom. He is also on our ship. Colonel Patton has been a level 3 berserker for a long time. He will definitely win against this tech. At this moment, when everyone saw the appearance of Colonel Patton, excitement suddenly appeared in their eyes, and hope was rekindled in their hearts. You pirates are so rampant. You even dare to rob us? I will meet you too. But at this moment, another voice sounded from the other side, and another man stood up, and this man also exuded a strong momentum. When everyone heard the man's voice, they looked at him again, and a touch of surprise suddenly appeared in their eyes. Look at what he's wearing. He's from the Heavenly King cult. What? A member of the Heavenly King cult. I know him. He's the deacon of the Heavenly King cult, Moro. Another level 3 berserker. That's great. 2 level 3 berserkers will definitely beat that tech. We won't die. When this man stood up, it caused quite a stir, just because this man who came out was not an ordinary person, but a deacon of the Heavenly King cult. The Heavenly King cult is a very famous sect abroad. It is very powerful and has members in many countries. The hierarchy is very strict. Only strong strength can gain a foothold in this Heavenly King cult. The man in front of him is a deacon of the Heavenly King cult, and a level 3 berserker. Berserker is the most populous profession in the world, and it is also the most common profession. It is normal that Moro is also a berserker. Add me. With the appearance of Moro, another voice resounded directly in this space. Another figure walked out of the room. It was a young man, who was also full of violent power. Although he was not as strong as the two who just stood up, he was also a second-level berserker. And me. Add me. Count me in when you fight these pirates. With Barton and Morrow walking out, more and more people walked out of the room. And these people were all tourists, and dozens of them came out at once. In addition to the berserkers, there were even wizards. Great. It's really great. We must beat back these pirates. We won't die. These people came out, and the other tourists became a little excited. They had seen Captain Jack defeated before, and they were already a little desperate, but at this moment, so many people stood up again, and they were not ordinary people, which immediately rekindled hope in the hearts of the other people. The people on this harmony of the seas are really full of talents. Interesting, interesting, interesting indeed. When Li Hao saw this scene, a faint smile appeared on his face. The appearance of these people also made Li Hao feel a little surprised. Li Hao did not make a move and continued to watch. Opposite. When Tech saw this scene, his eyes were fixed on Barton and others, and a sharp look burst out of his eyes. I didn't expect that. I underestimated you. However, do you think that you can stop our Caribbean pirates with just these people? It's just a foolish dream. Tech looked forward, but a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth again. Let me show you my strongest strength. Tech shouted loudly again. As Tech's voice fell, a strong momentum suddenly swept out of Tech's body. Buzz buzz buzz. Tech's momentum rose instantly, and it has not stopped yet. At this moment again, everyone saw that the white-haired young man standing on the boat at the back had a brilliant light on his body at this moment, and a strange wave was released from his body. The light was golden, and when it was brightest, it was a brilliant white light. At this moment, the young man actually gave birth to a majestic power. In the light, the young man actually looked more holy. Yes, it was holy. The next moment, everyone saw that the young man pointed at Tech in front of him, and suddenly another light from his body fell directly on Tech. Buzz buzz buzz. The light enveloped Tech, letting him bathe in the light. But at this moment, the momentum of Tech actually began to rise again at this moment. In just a moment, the momentum released by Tech actually changed from a third-level berserker to a fourth-level berserker. Oh my god! What happened? How could that guy's aura become so terrifying? Dot. At this moment, another series of unbelievable voices suddenly rang out, and everyone looked at the scene in front of them in horror, and their hearts were greatly shocked. It's him. It's that guy. That guy is a saint. He is praying. Dot. Saints are also a profession, and it is also a rare profession abroad, but people in this profession are very powerful, similar to the monks of Dewa, and can perform powerful spells. This blessing is a spell of the saint, which can condense the power of the sun to the target, so that the opponent's strength can be increased in a short time and become stronger. At this moment, the white-haired young man standing behind Tech, who was also standing behind him before, is a rare saint. His move instantly increased the strength of Tech to the amazing level of a 4th level berserker. A level 4 berserker, in terms of strength, is comparable to the late stage of the Jindan realm and is even close to the strength of the Huashan realm, except that the opponent has not developed a divine consciousness. What a powerful force! Let you see what it means to crush. Dare to attack my Caribbean pirates, you are simply courting death. At this moment, Natek was enveloped by the blessing light and felt his extremely powerful power at the moment. He immediately looked forward and said arrogantly, in his eyes, "What is a level 3 berserker?" Boom! In an instant, Tech's body burst out with earth-shaking momentum again. He held 2 swords in both hands, and the 2 swords were flowing with an extremely bloodthirsty edge, and he killed directly in front. Boom! In an instant, there was another deafening roar in this space. Natek's 2 swords slashed down. Attack! Attack together! Dot. When Morrow, Patton, and others saw this scene, their faces were filled with horror, but at this moment, the arrow was on the string and had to be shot. They could feel the strong pressure from the other party, but at this moment, they had to take action. So, Patton also burst out all his body strength and attacked forward. Bang 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 bang. In an instant, a series of dull sounds suddenly rang out. Ah! Ah! Puff! At this moment, screams rang out again. Everyone was shocked to see that in just a moment, one figure after another was actually shaken away, accompanied by the sound of spitting blood. And those figures were Patton, Morrow, and others who had just stood out. In just a moment, these people were actually severely injured. Crush, this is crushing. It's Colonel Patton and his team. Ah! Colonel Patton and his team are also injured. Oh my God, how could this happen? Even Colonel Patton and his team failed. It's over, barbecue. I'm really going to die. Dot. A series of horrified voices continued to ring out. The tourists in the rooms behind saw the scene at this moment. At the same time, they couldn't believe it and their faces became even paler. The hope that had just been born was completely shattered at this moment. The opponent's strength was beyond their imagination, so strong that they despaired. Ha ha ha, who else? At this time, that Tech laughed again, his voice was full of extreme pride, as if he didn't care about anyone. No one said anything, his eyes were full of anger, but there was a feeling of despair spreading. But just when everyone was in despair, a figure slowly walked out again. It was a young man, Li Hao. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Tian Taido. Chapter 386. Just when Morrow, Barton, and others stood up, but were still defeated by Tyke, the leader of the pirate group, and all the tourists felt despair, a figure slowly walked out at this moment. It was Li Hao. It's him. He's the boss of our Harmony of the Seas. That young sorcerer from Dewa. He actually stood up, but what's the use? The other party is praying for blessings. He is comparable to a 4th-level berserker. What can he do if he stands up? Can he go up and deliver food? Oh, I'm afraid it won't help. When the tourists saw Li Hao walking out, they immediately made a sound of surprise, but many people couldn't help but shook their heads, but there was no hope in their eyes because of Li Hao walking out. In their opinion, the opponent was a 4th-level berserker. Even Jack, Colonel Barton, and others were severely injured by the opponent. Even though the Li Hao in front of them was a great warlock, he must have looked so young. It's not much stronger. If you take action, it's no different from delivering food. Among the people present, only one person had an inexplicable belief in Li Hao. Nicole. This little witch with vampire blood was contracted by Li Hao. Only after being contracted by Li Hao did Nicole truly feel the power of Li Hao. There was light shining in Nicole's eyes, and she did not expect that Li Hao would come out at this moment. Boss. Jack and the others were also looking at Li Hao at this moment. Jack couldn't help shouting to Li Hao and opened his mouth to speak, but Li Hao had already arrived beside him. Come on, swallow this pill. Li Hao said to Jack. In Li Hao's hand, at some point, there was a round elixir. This elixir was completely white, but there was a spiritual light on it. You could tell it just by looking at it. An elixir is no ordinary thing. Is this a magical elixir refined by an alchemist? Jack looked at the elixir in Li Hao's hand, and his expression couldn't help but trembled. At this moment, a hint of the elixir's fragrance spread to the tip of his nose, making Jack's spirit tremble. What's that? Elixir? Is it an elixir? That guy seems to have a pill in his hand. What kind of elixir is this? Is it for healing? When those people in the distance saw this scene, they made another sound of surprise. Spiritual elixirs are very famous on this road. They are good things that can only be refined by alchemists. They can have very wonderful effects. Spiritual elixirs are very rare in foreign countries, but the kind of alchemy sorcerer that the sorcerer breeds has a very famous reputation. Yeah. Eat it quickly. Li Hao said calmly again. The Jack in front of him was actually stunned, leaving Li Hao speechless. The elixir Li Hao took out was the Great Return elixir, a holy elixir specially used to heal wounds. When Jack heard Li Hao's words, he immediately took the elixir from Li Hao's hand and stuffed it into his mouth without saying a word. The elixir melted in the mouth and turned directly into a cold liquid, entering Jack's body. In an instant, a ray of cool feeling suddenly filled Jack's body. This spiritual liquid directly entered Jack's blood and internal organs, nourishing the earth like spring rain, and directly began to repair Jack's injured body in an instant. In just a moment, Jack felt that all the injuries he had suffered just now were healed at this moment. Hiss, what a powerful medicine! It's really a magic pill. The next moment, Jack stood up, clenched his fists, and felt the abundant strength in his body. His condition had suddenly returned to its peak. Jack couldn't help but take a breath and said in shock. Boom! A powerful aura was released from Jack's body again. When everyone saw this scene, they immediately let out an incomparable uproar. Okay? Is Captain Jack okay so soon? Oh my God, is it really a magical elixir? Can you be cured so quickly? This is simply too outrageous. Many people's eyes were full of shock, and they were shocked by the effect of the pill that Li Hao took out. Across the way, when Tyke saw this scene, his eyes suddenly froze and his brows sank. Who are you? Tyke looked at Li Hao coldly and asked Li Hao. When Li Hao heard this Tyke's words, his eyes froze, he looked at the other party, and said in a deep voice. Kill your man. There was an extreme chill in Li Hao's voice, murderous intent, and even more arrogance. It fell into the ears of those around him, but it made their hearts tremble. After Li Hao's words fell, there was a flash of anger in the eyes of the guy opposite him, but the next moment, Tyke was so angry that he smiled instead. Ha. The one who killed me? How arrogant. I want to see how you kill me. Tyke said sharply again, but his aura was not weak at all, and even a little stronger. I will use my 2 knives to cut your body into thousands of pieces and cut off the flesh bit by bit to show you how powerful I am. Tyke looked at Li Hao cruelly and said sharply again. As soon as the words fell, Tyke burst out with pure strength, and the violent momentum comparable to that of a 4th-level berserker was instantly crushed. Seeing this scene, Jack's expression changed again. His expression was full of solemnity, and he was ready to take action, but he had no chance of winning, even if he returned to his peak state. Jack was immediately ready to go berserk, with violent power flowing through his body again. However, just when Jack was about to take action again, a pair of hands was placed directly on Jack's body. At this moment, Jack was horrified to feel that the violent force in his body seemed to have become extremely well behaved and peaceful at this moment. It was because of the hands on his shoulders. This scene made Jack feel horrified in his heart. I'll do it. A faint voice sounded next to Jack again. Li Hao's voice was calm, but it was full of extreme self-confidence, as if he didn't take the tyke in his eyes at all. Jack's eyes widened. Before he could react, he saw Li Hao standing in front of him, standing with his hands behind his back, but he seemed to be standing upright. Give you a chance, leave now and spare your life. Li Hao looked calmly at Tyke, the leader of the Pirates of the Caribbean group in front of him, and said slowly. Ha. Are you kidding? Spare my life? Do I need your spare life? I'm looking for death. When Natick heard Li Hao's words, he burst out laughing again, as if he had heard the funniest words in history. He immediately shouted angrily at Li Hao, then held his 2 swords and launched an extremely violent offensive. He just slashed at Li Hao. You don't cherish the opportunity given to you. If that's the case, then you can't blame me. When Li Hao saw this scene, a sharp light flashed in his eyes, and he said calmly. As soon as Li Hao said this, boom! An earth-shaking powerful momentum burst out directly from Li Hao's body. Buzz buzz. At this moment, the space was shaking and the situation changed color. As soon as this powerful momentum came out, everyone felt as if the heaven and earth had become dim, and the entire sky was about to collapse. Depressed. Extremely depressing. Ah! What a terrifying power. I feel like the sky is falling. What realm is this? In an instant, shocking sounds resounded in the space again, and everyone was shocked by the momentum displayed by Li Hao at this moment. That Tyke's eyes were also filled with a strong look, and his expression changed instantly. The momentum shown by the other party in standing up at this moment was even stronger than him. They are not on the same level at all, just like a firefly and a bright moon. How could the other party be so powerful? Not good. Tyke secretly said something bad. The other party turned out to be a powerful warlock, so powerful that it was terrifying. All this happened in an instant, and Tyke didn't even have time to react. But at this moment, Tyke was shocked to see that there was actually a shocking sword intent coming out of the opponent's body. Li Hao directly released his cultivation in the God transformation realm without any reservation, and he was still in the middle stage of the God transformation realm. At the same time, Li Hao raised his palm, and an earth-shattering sword intent filled the air. Immediately afterwards, Li Hao's palm fell directly and turned into an earth-shattering sword. With one strike of the sword, it split the mountain and split the ground, cutting open the entire space. Open Heaven Sword. Although Li Hao did not have a real long sword weapon, at this moment, he turned his palm into a sword and still struck out this earth-shattering sword. Boom! The whole world shook violently. Between heaven and earth, Wei gave birth to that shocking sword. Boom! The next moment, the sword slashed down directly, and the extremely sharp sword energy swept out. Bang! A dull sound erupted, and a bright light appeared. After a moment, everyone saw it. That Tyke's body just stopped there, still holding the two swords in his chopping motion, motionless. But everyone could see the shock and despair in the other person's eyes. The two scimitars in Tyke's hands have been broken from the handles. As for the broken places, they don't know where they are anymore. They may have been turned into pieces. It turns out that I didn't cherish the opportunity given to me. Tyke still remained motionless and said blankly again. There was despair and regret in Tyke's eyes. And as soon as Tyke's words came out, a terrifying scene suddenly appeared. Everyone was horrified to see that Tyke's mouth seemed a little weird and a bit out of place when he spoke. Just when everyone was confused. Tisk tisk tisk. A bloodline shot out directly from Tyke's body, and the bloodline split Tyke's body in half. In the next moment, Tyke's body was split into two, and then his body seemed to collapse limply. Blood spurted endlessly, and the scene was bloody and slightly terrifying. This is a person, actually cut in half. Dead. When the tourists on the Harmony of the Seas saw this scene, some of them widened their eyes with extreme shock. The leader of that pirate group died like this. Oh my God. One after another, doubtful voices kept coming out, and everyone was in utter disbelief. He must be dead. He was cut in half. Can he still be alive? Someone murmured, and a huge wave was born in his heart. That blessed tech is a level 4 berserker. He just died like that. Some people gasped and were stunned. Is this true? Pinch me. Some people even said to the people around them, not believing that the scene was true. Pa. Why the hell did you hit me? The guy who was talking was slapped in the face. It hurts, right? That's true. He's really dead. That tech was really killed. He died well. He deserved it? That's great. We're saved. Soon after, a series of exciting voices came out from the mouths of those tourists. Originally, they didn't have any hope for Li Hao. In their opinion, Li Hao was so young and strong that even a warlock wouldn't be very strong. It was just like sending food to Tech, and they would lose their lives in vain. But at this moment, what they didn't expect was that the guy in front of them actually burst out with earth-shaking power, and directly killed this Tech with a sword, killing this 4th level berserker. At this moment, they finally saw the light from despair. They had no sympathy for this Tech, but were extremely happy. Even the pirate leader was killed, and the remaining pirates were not a concern. In other words, at this moment, they were truly safe. For a moment, excitement and joy, the emotions of surviving a disaster arose in everyone's hearts, and everyone was relieved. Even Jack and others, at this moment, opened their eyes and opened their mouths, shocked by this scene. It turned out that his boss was so powerful. The boss is dead. The boss was killed. Why is this? What should we do now? As for the pirates, seeing that even their boss was killed, they screamed and panicked. What else can we do? Run. Run quickly. Then, the pirates reacted quickly and started to flee. Kill. Don't let them run away. At this time, Jack shouted again. Suddenly, the security guards on the Harmony of the Seas launched a powerful offensive and chased the fleeing islands. They can't run away. But at this time, Li Hao looked at the scene and said lightly. As Li Hao's voice fell, a jade needle suddenly appeared in his hand, which was the Tianqian 9 needles. The next moment, the Tianqian 9 needles shot out directly to the front, with a powerful sword intent and an extremely sharp penetrating force. Sizzle! The Tianqian 9 needles turned into a rain of swords and fell directly. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 387. Li Hao directly used the 9 heavenly profound needles, and immediately the 9 heavenly profound needles were filled with endless sword intent, turning into a rain of swords, heading towards the fleeing pirates in front. The next moment, everyone was shocked to see the bodies of the pirates fall down. Blood spurted out of their bodies desperately, and their bodies had become riddled with holes, directly pierced by sword energy. They died directly. Hundreds of pirates died in an instant, and they kept falling. Only the white-haired young man had a brilliant light on his body, and the light enveloped his body, as if forming a protective shield with his body as the center. But at this moment, there was a trace of panic in the eyes of the white-haired young man, and even a trace of fear. The scene of Tech being killed just now had already scared him. Even Tech, who was blessed by him, was killed. What should he do? Sizzle, sizzle. The endless sword energy directly hit his protective shield. In just a moment, his protective shield was instantly broken and could not be blocked at all. Seeing that he could not resist, a golden cup appeared in the hand of the white-haired young man. The whole body seemed to be made of gold, but there were some strange patterns and some weird patterns engraved on it. At this moment, the white-haired young man held the golden cup with both hands, and then bit his arm, and blood flowed. But the blood did not fall to the ground. It seemed that a strong suction force was generated from the golden cup, and the blood of the guy was directly sucked into the cup. Buzz. At this moment, the pattern on the cup seemed to move and became vivid, and a strange power suddenly burst out from the cup. He is a saint. He is offering a sacrifice. The cup in his hand must be a holy weapon. At this time, a person with extraordinary knowledge saw the scene and spoke out directly, recognizing that the white-haired young man was a saint, and the golden cup in his hand must be a holy weapon. Sacrifice. This guy was using his blood to sacrifice the golden cup. Then, everyone saw that the cup in the white-haired young man's hand slowly rose and kept circling in the space, and then the golden light protected the young man again, and the young man's body was also generating extremely violent power at this moment. Boom! There was another roar in the space. Li Hao saw that the sword rain transformed by the Tianqian 9 needles fell on the opponent's body and was blocked. Huh! Li Hao also had a look of surprise. He even blocked his own sword power. It was not because the white-haired young man was so powerful, but because the golden cup he took out was unusual in price, and it must be a powerful treasure. Boom! Li Hao's eyes condensed, and the powerful cultivation power of the middle stage of the spiritual transformation realm swept out again. Li Hao moved and went to the white-haired young man in front again. The white-haired young man seemed to have endured great pain at this moment, and his originally thin body seemed to have become stronger at this moment. Ah! The white-haired young man screamed again, his face became a little hideous at this moment, his body was shrouded in holy light, and his momentum became powerful. I will kill you. The white-haired young man roared and rushed towards Li Hao on his own initiative. Li Hao's eyes were extremely sharp, and his hand grabbed the void. Thunder! As Li Hao's voice fell. Boom! In the sky, a thunder suddenly descended, carrying the power of destruction. Words come true. The next moment, the thunder directly fell on Li Hao, which made Li Hao look more violent and destructive. My God, he can actually summon thunder. What a terrifying aura. Is this the warlock of Dewa? This is too amazing. When everyone saw this scene, they made an extremely shocked sound again. But in the next moment, Li Hao was bathed in thunder and punched directly at the opponent, and his fist was filled with a destructive force. The scene was very shocking. Boom! A huge roar sounded, and there was a terrifying explosion. The violent force spread in all directions, stirring up dust waves all over the sky. Everyone's eyes fell on the dust waves. After another moment, when the dust waves dissipated, everyone saw that a proud figure was still standing there. It was Li Hao. In front of him, on the ground, there was a charred body, and the whole body was no longer in shape. How, how could this happen? I, I won't accept it. On the ground, the charred body was still making sounds, but before it could finish its words, it was already silent, completely dead. Dead. Just dead like that. Isn't it dead? It was roasted. How could it not die? Dot. In the distance, the tourists saw the scene and immediately made surprised sounds, and then they exclaimed again. The pirates are all dead. Saved. That's great. Dot. Everyone had a feeling of being left behind, and they were thankful that Li Hao stood up. The ground was littered with pirate corpses. At this point, all pirates in the Pirates of the Caribbean group have been destroyed. Li Hao showed no mercy to these evil-doing pirates and would stop killing by killing. Li Hao looked at the corpses of these pirates, pointed forward again, and as soon as he pointed out, another ball of flame appeared out of thin air, and the flame directly turned into balls, and then fell directly on the bodies of the pirates. In just an instant, the bodies of these pirates were turned into ashes. After doing all this, Li Hao's eyes fell on a corner in front of him. There was a golden cup lying there quietly, but it no longer had the brilliance it had before. There was a strange color in Li Hao's eyes, and he grabbed the golden cup directly. In an instant, the cup fell directly into Li Hao's hands. Buzz. Li Hao couldn't help but be shocked again when he got this golden cup. At this moment, some pictures inexplicably appeared in Li Hao's mind. In the picture, there is a towering altar in a temple, and on that altar, there is a golden cup. On the cup, there is a bright light, filled with extremely holy and bright power. But below, there are some figures standing, worshipping the Holy Grail. After each person worships, a ray of holy light falls on them, and then the aura of these people suddenly becomes stronger. Stand up. Holy Grail. From these pictures, the name came to Li Hao's mind again. This should be a scene from a long time ago. Those who worshipped the Holy Grail were directly bathed in the light and received great benefits. But I don't know when, the picture changed again. This Holy Grail has become a little dim, and every time it wants to shine, these people need to sacrifice their own blood. These people who sacrifice their blood can make this Holy Grail awaken briefly and gain power, but from then on, they have more connections with the Holy Grail, as if they are controlled by the Holy Grail. Li Hao gradually got an idea in his mind. This Holy Grail is already a powerful treasure and has been worshipped by countless people. But I don't know when, this Holy Grail seemed to have some problems. However, it is at this moment. A red exclamation point actually appeared on the Holy Grail. Li Hao couldn't help but be shocked. Huh? Hint. Is this time coming? Li Hao also had a look of surprise on his face. Unexpectedly, at this time, the system prompt came, and the system prompt appeared on the Holy Grail in his hand. Li Hao clicked the exclamation point without hesitation. Ding dong, this is a Holy Grail of light, but I don't know when it started to become corrupted. For more information, please click downward arrow. The system's prompt tone suddenly sounded in Li Hao's mind again. Has it become a bit depraved? Li Hao couldn't help but was shocked when he heard the system's prompt tone. The system actually used it? Does this Holy Grail have consciousness? Li Hao immediately clicked the downward arrow again. Ding dong, when the Holy Grail of light becomes no longer bright, darkness is about to fall. Suddenly, the system's beep sounded, but Li Hao heard it a little baffled. What is light and what is dark? However, at this moment, Li Hao suddenly discovered that the red exclamation mark on the Holy Grail was gone, replaced by a yellow question mark. Looking at this question mark, Li Hao also looked confused. Task. Li Hao's eyes widened. Is this system going to issue a task to him again? Li Hao couldn't even remember the last time he received a system mission. Anyway, it had been a long time. Regardless, this is a good thing. Li Hao didn't hesitate at all and directly clicked on the question mark again. Ding dong, release the mission, the Fallen Holy Grail, mission description, place the Fallen Holy Grail on the altar of light to awaken the spirit of the Holy Grail. The system prompt sounded immediately again. Click to get it. At this moment, another button appeared in front of Li Hao's eyes, with the word receive clearly written on it. If you don't get it, you won't get it. Li Hao directly clicked the receive button. Ding dong, you successfully received the task. After completing the task, you will receive the system's incredible reward. Hearing the sound of the system, Li Hao felt helpless to complain. It's a heaven-defying reward. If you explain clearly what the reward is, you will be motivated to complete the task. Li Hao looked at the Holy Grail in his hand. Its real name should be the Holy Grail of Light. It should be a treasure of a certain powerful force and possess the power of light. But for some reason, there was something wrong with this Holy Grail, and it was actually in the hands of the white-haired young man who was killed by him. At this moment, it fell into his hands by chance. In short, this Holy Grail is an extraordinary object. Judging from its level, it should be regarded as a spiritual weapon-level treasure, because there is a weapon spirit in this Holy Grail, but this weapon spirit seems to be sleeping. Only by awakening the spirit of the Holy Grail can the Holy Grail regain its former power. Li Hao directly collected the Holy Grail in the system world, which should be considered an unexpected gain. Jack, you take care of these ships. Let's continue to set sail. Li Hao looked at the ships that the pirates had driven before, and Li Hao said directly to Jack. Yes, boss. Jack's eyes burst into excitement, and he shouted loudly to his men. Pull up these ships, take your positions, and set sail. As Jack's voice fell, those under Jack's men immediately moved again, full of energy. Not only did the pirates not rob their harmony of the seas, but they sent several ships instead, which was simply the best thing. Everyone looked at Li Hao with a different look, with some awe of the strong. Li Hao conquered everyone with his strength. Beep. The sound of the cruise ship's whistle sounded again. Harmony of the Seas continued to set sail, heading towards the end of this voyage. After that, everything went smoothly and peacefully. However, as the news of the destruction of the Caribbean pirates spread, the entire continent was shaken. What? The Caribbean pirates were destroyed. This is one of the best pirate groups in the world. They were all killed by a powerful warlock from the Great China. Is that warlock the owner of the Harmony of the Seas? His name is Li Hao. Many forces on the mainland have such voices. You know, the Caribbean pirates are one of the best pirate groups on the mainland, and there are hundreds of members, all of whom are fierce, but they were killed by a Great China warlock. This is undoubtedly a shocking news. Li Hao's name also spread on the mainland with this news. The Harmony of the Seas continued to sail, and finally arrived at the end of the voyage, Sunset City, 1 day later. Li Hao got off the cruise ship directly, and then took a taxi to the airport. Li Hao did not plan to stay here, but planned to go back directly. On the cruise ship, Li Hao had called the captain of his private plane, and his private plane should be waiting at the airport. Next, Li Hao took his private plane again and enjoyed a wonderful flight. When he returned to Jiangbei, it was already the afternoon of the next day. When Li Hao returned to Villa number 13 in Jiangbei number 1 courtyard, Li Hao was dumbfounded again. Why are you here? In front of Li Hao, in addition to Yeshiun, there were two other women, one wearing a white skirt and the other wearing a green skirt. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Tian Taido. Chapter 388. The two beautiful women in front of him, one wearing a white dress and the other wearing a green dress, aren't they Ye Hongxiu and Chu King Ai? Li Hao didn't expect that these two women would be in his villa. Why are you here? Li Hao asked with his eyes wide open. Why can't we be here? Bai is yours now, so there should be no problem for her to follow you, right? And as Bai's master, there should be no problem for me to follow Bai and live with you, right? At this time, Ye Hongxiu said lightly. What do you mean Mo Bai is my person? What happened between her and me? By the way, where is Mo Bai? Li Hao asked in surprise again. I heard from King Ai that Bai had sworn to become your woman before, and it was a heavenly oath that must not be violated. You must admit this, right? But Bai is still in the Xian zone, arranging some matters of the section. After the arrangements are made, she will naturally come here. Anyway, you have so many rooms here, and they are empty anyway. But I heard Ye Hongxiu say again. Li Hao. What's the big deal? Li Hao suddenly remembered that when he fought against Zhao Tianshen in the secret realm before, in a hurry, Mo Bai did make a heavenly oath, saying that she would become Li Hao's woman as long as Li Hao made a move. Li Hao didn't take it to heart, but now it seems that it's for real. Mo Bai didn't come, but her junior sister and grandmaster came first, and Li Hao saw the other party's appearance, which clearly wanted to stay here for a long time. Li Hao was speechless, but he didn't say anything more. Indeed, there are so many rooms here, empty or not, just live in it. What's more, Ye Hongxiu in front of him is a figure from 1,000 years ago, a real earth fairy. With her here, who in Dawa and even the whole continent dares to mess with him? And he is now in the middle stage of the transformation of the spirit realm. It should not take long to break through to the late stage of the transformation of the spirit realm, and then he will impact the earth fairy realm. But after so many years, there has never been a fairyland. Li Hao also has some doubts in his heart. At that time, he may need Ye Hongxiu to solve his doubts. Li Hao said nothing more and went straight into the villa. In the evening, Li Hao went out to buy some dishes and cooked himself to warmly entertain Ye Hongxiu and the other two girls. Li Hao showed his god-level cooking skills and was busy in the kitchen. Outside, Chu King Ai and Ye Hongxiu were watching TV. Huh? Is this a magic weapon? There is actually thunder power in it. How come there are other people's images in this thing? Is it projected? Ye Hongxiu looked at the picture on the TV and couldn't help asking again. Master, this is not a magic weapon, this is a thing called TV. Next to him, Chu King Ai explained to Ye Hongxiu. This chair is so comfortable to sit on. It's so soft, it seems to be made of the fur of monsters. Ye Hongxiu curled up her white feet and put them on the sofa, and couldn't help saying again. The whole world has become different. Ye Hongxiu had been sleeping for so long that she felt that everything had changed, but she was also full of curiosity about the things around her. Soon, the door was opened. A pretty beauty appeared at the door of the hall, and Ye Xiun finally came back. As soon as Ye Xiun entered the door, she saw two women sitting on the sofa. They were two extremely beautiful women who seemed to be out of touch with the world. These two women came here 2 days ago and have stayed for 2 nights. She already knew them. When she heard that the two women were looking for Li Hao, Ye Xiun suddenly felt uncomfortable. How could this guy go out and flirt with other women? With such a beautiful woman like her at home, that guy didn't know how to take the initiative. Wasn't he good enough? Li Hao walked out of the kitchen directly. You're back. Li Hao said to Ye Xiun with a smile. Ye Xiun's beautiful eyes immediately fell on Li Hao, but her pretty face turned into frost. What are you doing back? When Ye Xiun saw Li Hao coming back, she said in a deep voice, but there was a hint of coldness in her voice, as if she was keeping people away from her. Li Hao was stunned, and felt that he had been rejected. This is my villa, what am I not doing if I don't come back? Li Hao said indifferently. There is a difference between men and women. We are girls living here, and it's inconvenient for you, a big boy. However, Ye Xiun said to Li Hao again. Li Hao was speechless, with a black line on his face. This girl was obviously jealous again, just like last time. I've seen everything, what's inconvenient? Really? Li Hao blurted out and said directly. When Li Hao's voice fell, Ye pretty face suddenly became red. You. Ye stared at Li Hao, but couldn't say anything, and no longer paid attention to Li Hao, and went straight to the room. Ye Hongxiu and Chu King Ai, who were standing next to him, also heard what Li Hao said. They looked at him with a slightly strange look in their eyes. Well, the meal is ready. Change your clothes and come down to eat. Li Hao said to Ye again. No. Ye said decisively. I went shopping today and made several delicious dishes, such as twice-cooked pork, boiled fish, steamed abalone, etc. Are you sure you don't want to eat some? With that said, Li Hao held another plate of twice-cooked pork in his hands. It was so delicious that people couldn't help but drool just looking at it. Ye heard Li Hao's words, saw the twice-cooked pork in Li Hao's hand, smelled the fragrance, and swallowed a sip of saliva. Don't eat. Ye said against her will. After finishing her words, she returned to the room without looking back. Wow, it smells so good. At this time, Chu King Ai had already arrived in front of the table, looking at the dishes on the table in amazement. Master, master, come quickly. It smells so good. Chu King Ai shouted to Ye Hongxiu repeatedly. No need. We cultivators have stopped eating these belly-wrapping things long ago. Hey, they taste so delicious. Ye Hongxiu heard Chu King Ai's words and said directly, she was not going to eat it at first, but suddenly she smelled a tempting fragrance. She had not eaten these foods for many years. As she just said, before cultivating immortality, humans absorb the spiritual power of heaven and earth as food, and the spiritual power of heaven and earth is the source of all power. As for eating, there is no need at all. Ye Hongxiu sat down directly at the dining table, took the chopsticks and started to pick them up. It's delicious. Ye Hongxiu's beautiful eyes were filled with brightness and she said in wonder. This is really delicious. Ha ha. Of course, it doesn't matter who did it. When Li Hao saw this scene, he immediately laughed again. He is a man with a system. His god-level cooking skills allow Li Hao to transform into a god-level chef. Can the food he cooks not be delicious? Ye Hongxiu and Chu King Ai immediately started to feast. Li Hao, on the other hand, went upstairs again and came to the outside of Ye Xiun's room. Dead Li Hao, bad Li Hao, stinky Li Hao. In the room, Ye Xiun was holding a furry bear doll and was squeezing it. She was still mumbling words and felt extremely depressed. Where do I stink? But at this time, a voice came from the door again, and it was Li Hao's voice. Li Hao was also speechless, but he was a little funny in his heart, but seeing Ye Xiun's figure, it was so good. Ye Xiun was sitting there, wearing only underwear, obviously still changing clothes. Ah! Ye Xiun screamed again when she heard Li Hao's voice. How did you get in? Ye Xiun pointed at Li Hao and said, but her pretty face turned red and she quickly used the bear doll to block her beauty. Why don't you close the door? Li Hao said directly. Hurry, go down and eat. Don't eat. I won't eat the food you cooked. Ye Xiun still said proudly. Are you sure? Li Hao said calmly, but slowly walked towards Ye Xiun, with a smirk on his face. What do you want to do? Ye Xiun suddenly panicked and asked Li Hao. Do it? Li Hao said cheerfully, you have asked for it, how can you refuse? Li Hao even stretched out his dragon hand and walked slowly towards Ye Xiun again. Ah! No! Ye Xiun screamed again. To eat or not to eat? Li Hao said with a half smile. Eat, 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 I'll eat. Forced by Li Hao's lust, Ye Xiun chose to give in. This is so good. Li Hao then walked out with a satisfied look on his face, and his two pairs of eyes immediately looked towards Li Hao. They were Ye Hongxiu and Chu King Ai, with a strange look on their faces. When Li Hao saw the two women's looks, he knew clearly that he thought he had done something to Ye Xiun. "How's it going? Is it delicious?" Li Hao asked the two women again. Um. The two women nodded in unison, but at this moment, Ye Hongxiu glanced at Chu King Ai and gave him a look. "After we eat, you can take us to buy clothes?" Chu King Ai suddenly said weakly. "What? Taking you to buy clothes?" Li Hao opened his mouth wide, looking astonished. "Yeah. The clothes worn by those women outside are quite nice. Master and I also want to buy them." Chu King Ai said again, "In fact, this is what Ye Hongxiu meant." Although the two skirts they were wearing were very unusual and were also magic weapons, they still let them see the various styles of clothes worn by the young ladies on the street. Some ideas came into their minds. Ever since this scene happened. Moreover, buying things costs money. "Don't you look pretty in these two outfits?" Li Hao said lightly again, "With their good looks and these two dresses, they will definitely be the center of attention no matter where they go. It's good to see them criticized, and Li Hao likes them very much. No matter how good it looks, you will get tired of it if you wear it for a long time." Next to me, I heard Ye Hongxiu suddenly say something again. "Yeah. That makes sense." When Li Hao heard this, he nodded immediately, and then asked again. "But do you have money?" "No." Ye Hongxiu said directly. Chu King Ai also shook his head. "It's not you, is it?" Ye Hongxiu said to Li Hao again, "I've gained a lot in my secret realm." Okay, okay. Just so. Li Hao couldn't help being stunned and said weakly. "When you go out later and see some nice clothes, buy whatever you want. I will pay for it." "Soon," Li Hao said boldly again, "isn't it just buying clothes? Do I still lack this little money?" "That's what you said." "I said so." After eating, Li Hao drove his Mercedes-Benz S directly toward Sanggurai in the city center. Now Li Hao, in addition to this Mercedes-Benz S, also has several cars, such as the blue Birkenau Poison, Bugatti Veyron, and an Audi A6, which is the number 3 car of the Southwest Guards Army. Soon, Li Hao drove the two girls to Shanghulai. As the most prosperous commercial street in Jiangbei, Shanghulai is full of people coming and going. People here seem to not work, or have money that they can't spend all their money. Li Hao parked the car directly, and then walked out with Ye Hongxiu and the two girls. "Wow, those two women are so beautiful. It's so amazing. That temperament is really amazing. How can there be such a beautiful woman? Especially the one wearing a white skirt, she looks like a fairy descending from heaven. Damn it, this fairy sister appeared out of nowhere." As soon as the two women appeared, they immediately attracted the attention of many people, and the sounds of exclamation kept ringing. Ye Hongxiu, dressed in white, and Chu King Ai, dressed in green, with their exquisite appearance and extraordinary temperament, immediately amazed countless people. "Let me go, who is that guy? Damn. I'm so lucky. Dabake really got hummed by that." Soon, everyone noticed Li Hao standing next to the two women, and they couldn't help but make envious and jealous sounds again. Li Hao didn't pay attention to the eyes of these people, but there was a faint smile on his face, looking extremely proud. "Let's go, there are a lot of women's clothing here. Just buy whatever you like." Li Hao said directly again, and immediately walked inside with the two women. However, at this moment, a man with glasses walked straight over. He was dressed very fashionably, with a SLR hanging around his neck. His long dark hair was tied up, giving him an artistic temperament. "Two beauties, can I take 2 photos of you?" The man with the eyes asked directly to Ye Hongxiu and the two women. "Taking pictures?" Ye Hongxiu didn't know what taking pictures meant. "That's right. You guys are so beautiful, the results will definitely be great. Then I will put it on Douyin, maybe it will become popular. You are so beautiful, it would be a shame not to be an internet celebrity. The man with glasses said to the two women again, with undisguised passion in his eyes. If you are quite famous on the internet, I have a way. I guarantee that you will become popular and you will definitely make a lot of money. The man with glasses said again. Li Hao next to him frowned. Who the hell are you? Where did you come from? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Tian Taido. Chapter 389. Go away, take it where it came from. Li Hao's voice came out directly, but the face of the man with glasses suddenly became very ugly. Who are you? The man with glasses asked Li Hao. Who the hell do you care about me? Do you want me to repeat it again? Li Hao said directly again, but his voice was filled with unkindness, and his eyes looking at the man with glasses were also full of fierceness. You, I won't leave, what can you do to me? This is an era of rule of law. The man with the eyes turned red, and was shocked by Li Hao, but he was still confident. Behind him was the CEO of the entertainment company, who was very powerful. Li Hao glanced at the other party lightly again and took a step forward, looking menacing. What are you going to do? The expression of the man with the eyes suddenly changed again, and he said in shock. At this moment, everyone thought that Li Hao was about to take action. But surprisingly, Li Hao paused again, with a faint smile appearing on the corner of his mouth. Just at this moment. Ah! A scream came out of the bespectacled man's mouth again inexplicably. Everyone was horrified to see that the bespectacled man's face was full of fear at this moment, as if he had seen something terrible, and he actually fell to the ground. Moreover, the crotch of this man with glasses was actually wet. What's going on? What's going on? What's wrong with that guy? Oh my god, he actually peed. Damn it, he peed because he was so scared. That guy didn't seem to have done anything, right? Why did his glasses pee? This is so cowardly. It makes me laugh so hard. Quick, make Douyin. The video will definitely go viral. No one did anything. He just peed. Touching porcelain. Definitely touching porcelain. At this moment, the people around him saw that the bespectacled man sat down inexplicably and wet his pants, and they suddenly made a sound of ridicule. They had never seen anything so ridiculous. And everyone clearly saw that the young man took a step forward without even touching the bespectacled man's body. Why did the bespectacled man look like this? Only Ye Hongxiu, who was next to Li Hao, glanced at Li Hao in surprise. She was the only one who clearly saw what Li Hao did. Just under Li Hao's step, he had already started to activate his cultivation power. The power of a formation had already filled the opponent's body. It should be a phantom formation. The opponent must have seen something terrifying in the phantom formation. However, Ye Hongxiu didn't say anything. Li Hao indeed used the illusion array to scare the other party. You devil. The man with glasses made a horrified sound, but in the next moment, he woke up again, with lingering fear. Just now, he felt as if he was in hell, and all kinds of terrifying scenes appeared in front of him. Immediately afterwards, the man with glasses saw his current appearance and felt the wetness under his crotch, and he suddenly became embarrassed again. Especially when he heard the mocking voices and mocking eyes of the people around him, he was a complete joke. The man with glasses felt like he was going crazy. Now was the moment when he lost the most points. Ah! It's you. It must be you. Just wait for me. The man with glasses screamed again, pointed at Li Hao in horror and said. The next moment, the man with glasses walked away dejectedly. The man with glasses ran for a long time, and finally squatted in a corner, covering his wet crotch, then took out his mobile phone, and made a call. Mr. Zhang, I saw two very beautiful women. You will definitely like them. And if they come to our company, they will definitely bring great benefits. The man with glasses said directly into the phone. What? A beautiful woman? How beautiful? On the other side of the phone, a man's voice suddenly came, full of surprise and excitement. She is several times, even dozens of times more beautiful than those women in the past. There is no comparison at all. The man with glasses said directly again. Don't lie to me. Do you have any photos? The person on the other side of the phone said directly again. Yes, Mr. Zhang, I will send it to you right away. Take a look. The man with eyes directly sent another photo he had taken to the other party. This photo he had secretly taken when the two women got out of the car. A moment later, another exclamation came from the other end of the phone. Damn, she's so beautiful. You did a good job with the glasses this time. If these two girls can get our company, they will definitely become a big hit. I will directly participate in a few movies by then, and there will definitely be many people pay. The man on the phone said directly again. Hearing what he said on the phone, Sunglasses was also excited. Maybe he could also participate in the show and make money at the same time. Where are these two women now? Have you got their contact information? The next moment, the man on the phone asked directly again. Mr. Zhang, we don't have contact information yet. But they are in Shanghai now. That's it? There is a man next to them. The man with glasses said again. Men don't exist. I'll take action myself later. Just keep an eye on me and I'll come right over. There's nothing that money can't do. The man on the phone said directly again, his tone filled with confidence. If money really can't do it, then look for opportunities to use force. You know, in Jiangbei, he takes both black and white. The man with glasses suddenly said excitedly when he heard the voice on the phone. Yes. As long as Mr. Zhang takes action, there is no woman he can't handle. If he really can't handle it, Mr. Zhang still has many ways. Humph. Just wait for me. The man with glasses snorted again, thinking of the previous scene, his eyes filled with resentment. The next moment, the bespectacled man went straight into an alley, then bought a pair of trousers and changed his trousers first. Let's go. Li Hao watched the man with glasses run away, but Li Hao didn't care at all and said calmly to the two women. The two women nodded and continued walking forward with Li Hao. Soon, we entered the first underground floor of Shanghai. This place was more prosperous than on the ground, with an endless stream of people, and of course, there were many delicious food. Li Hao, on the other hand, took the two women directly into a women's clothing store. Welcome. Hello sir, ladies. This is our latest model. It will definitely look very good on these two ladies. Do you want to try it? As soon as Li Hao and Ye Hongxiu entered the store, a shopping guide came to the three of them and said directly. This shopping guide is a young woman, in her 20s, average looking, somewhat innocent looking, and her name is Li Lin written on the work sign on her chest. His surname is actually Li. However, there were so many people named Li in the world, but Li Hao didn't care. At this moment, Li Lin's beautiful eyes fell on the two women, and she felt extremely surprised in her heart. The two women in front of me are so beautiful. How could there be such a good-looking girl? Li Lin was amazed in her heart, and even had a feeling of being dirty. She was really shocked by the two women in front of her. She sells clothes here. As the most prosperous place in Jiangbei, there are also many beauties here. It is called. It's not an exaggeration to say that there are beautiful women everywhere, and there are many goddesses that he can see every day, but Li Lin was still stunned by the two women in front of him. Yeah. Just take a look. Li Hao said directly to Ye Hongxiu and the two girls again. But at this moment, other people in the store also saw the three of them. When their eyes fell on the two women, they were also shocked. Damn, what a beautiful woman. The grass is so beautiful. Dot. Especially some men, when they saw the two women, their eyes became even brighter, and they could no longer move their eyes away. Yes, there are quite a few men in this women's clothing store. Some are in ragged suits, and some are wearing famous brands and look like rich bosses. These men either accompany their wives or their young girlfriends to buy clothes. Of course, they may also be mistresses. But without exception, these men were all attracted to Ye Hongxiu and the two women at this moment. Qian Daqiang was accompanying the female college student he had just hired outside to buy clothes, but his eyes suddenly lit up. He saw two beauties appearing at the door. They were more beautiful than those he had ever seen. Much more beautiful. For a moment, Qian Daqiang felt that the student girl he had just got while trying on clothes was not good. Qian Daqiang did not hesitate and walked directly towards the two women. He only had two women in his eyes and automatically ignored the men beside them. Soon, Qian Daqiang came to Ye Hongxiu and Chu King Ai. Two beauties, do you want to see your clothes? This meeting means we are destined to make friends. I am Qian Daqiang, the general manager of Daqiang Building Materials. Qian Daqiang said directly to the two women, directly mentioning his company and name. As long as the other party is not stupid, they should be able to see that he is a wealthy owner, at least there is no problem in recognition. Master, she said we are destined. She wants to make friends with us. When Chu King Ai heard Qian Daqiang's words, his eyes widened and he said to Ye Hongxiu next to him. But I don't want to be friends with him. Next to him, Ye Hongxiu also said, his voice flat as if without the slightest emotion. I said Qian Daqiang. If you want to pretend to be cool and pick up girls, go somewhere else. Where I am, will it be your turn to pretend to be cool? But at this moment, a cold voice came from the side. Li Hao looked at Qian Daqiang, but he was speechless in his heart. What a coincidence that it was this guy again. Li Hao remembered that the last time he and Qin Yaking were buying watches here, they met this guy. At that time, this guy was still trying to make plans for Qin Yaking. He pretends to be cool in front of himself, but he is not pretending to be himself. Li Hao didn't expect to see this guy here again, and he actually wanted to attack Ye Hongxiu and the two. Li Hao is naturally not used to it. Next to him, Qian Daqiang couldn't help but feel shocked when he heard Li Hao's voice. The voice seemed a bit familiar. The next moment, Qian Daqiang saw a young man looking at him jokingly. Damn it, why is it you again? Qian Daqiang couldn't help but curse. He was really shocked. Isn't this Qin Yaking's boyfriend? Huh? Why are you here? Did you break up with Qin Yaking? Qian Daqiang suddenly said in surprise, isn't this guy Qin Yaking's boyfriend? Why are you here, and accompanied by two such beautiful women? Qian Daqiang suddenly thought of one point, did Qin Yaking break up with this guy? That must be the case. Suddenly, Qian Daqiang thought of something again, and said to Li Hao in a deep voice. You really lied to her. Then Qin Yaking is a fool, and you don't believe what I said. You just cheated money and sex, right? Pretending to be rich, right? You must have colluded with the watch seller, right? That watch of yours, it must be fake. Now it's the same routine again. Qian Daqiang's emotions became a little intense. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that the guy in front of him must be pretending to be fat and pretending to be rich in order to please women. Li Hao's eyes widened when he heard Qian Daqiang's words. Damn, I have to say, my imagination is really rich. I'm tricking your mother. Get out of here and don't be an eyesore here. Believe it or not, I'll make you pee your pants. Li Hao said directly to Qian Daqiang again. Who is Qin Yaking? At this time, Ye Hongxiu next to him asked Li Hao again, with a hint of curiosity in his eyes. Yes, Li Hao, who is Qin Yaking? My senior sister is yours. You can't let her down. Chu King I also said. Li Hao, dot. What a thing. That one lives next door to me. Li Hao was startled and said weakly again. Hurry up and choose your clothes. Whatever you like, just buy it and I'll pay for it. Li Hao quickly said to the two women again, changing the focus of the topic. Wow, really? These clothes look great. I want to try them. Sure enough, when Chu King I heard Li Hao's words, she immediately became excited. That's pretty much it? Next to him, Ye Hongxiu also said lightly, without thinking too much, and looked at these clothes. I have to say that these clothes are really beautiful, no matter the style or color. Ye Hongxiu has never tried on these styles of clothes. Immediately, Ye Hongxiu and Chu King I went to look at the clothes again. Hey, you two beauties, this guy is a liar. He has a girlfriend. He is pretending to be a rich man to defraud you of your money and sex. Seeing this scene, Qian Daqiang quickly said, Don't give up. Uncle, but we don't have any money at all. You'd better not worry about other people's concerns. Look, your hair is about to fall out. Chu King I turned her head again and said directly. Qian Daqiang was stunned when he heard Chu King I's words. This is a bit heartbreaking. He already has a Mediterranean hairstyle. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Tian Taido. Chapter 390. When Qian Daqiang heard Chu King I's words, his expression became extremely ugly. Is all his hair falling out? It's really worrying, because he already has a Mediterranean hairstyle. Seeing Li Hao taking the two girls directly to choose clothes, Qian Daqiang looked gloomy and still thought that Li Hao must be a liar, pretending to be a rich man to deceive these beautiful ladies. A variety of women's clothes are hung on the shelves, and with the bright lights, each one looks so dazzling and beautiful. Wow, this dress is so beautiful. Soon, Chu King I's voice came. Chu King I was interested in a dress. This dress was light green, but it was white on top and had some special patterns. Well, it looks pretty good, King I, let's try it. It doesn't cost us any money. Ye Hongxiu said directly, glancing at Li Hao as he spoke. Li Hao naturally had no objection. This should suit you very well. The shopping guide Li Lin directly selected the size and handed it to Chu King I. Chu King I nodded and went directly to the dressing room to change clothes. 2 or 3 minutes later, Chu King I walked out wearing the dress she had changed into. This light green dress looked fresh and refined on Chu King I, as if it was tailor-made for Chu King I, which made Li Hao's eyes light up. Nice. Well, Qing Yi, you look so beautiful. Next to him, Ye Hongxiu also nodded and said. Wow, madam, this pair looks really good on you. Even Li Lin, the shopping guide next to her, said in surprise. Of course, it wasn't just him. At this moment, the women who were choosing clothes in the store, or the men who were accompanying their women to buy and choose clothes, all glanced at this with amazement. Especially Qian Daqiang was stunned when he saw this scene. The next moment, Qian Daqiang walked up directly. Beauty, this dress suits you really well. However, the price shouldn't be cheap. Can this guy afford it? Qian Daqiang said directly again, with a hint of ridicule in his voice. Chu King I couldn't help being stunned again, and couldn't help but ask the shopping guide beside her. How much does this dress cost? This dress is our latest model, and the price is 13,999. Li Lin said directly without thinking, being familiar with the price of each style of clothing is the most basic professional quality of a shopping guide. Huh? It's so expensive. Chu King Ai was also shocked. Not long after she entered the world, this was her first time buying clothes, but she also knew the concept of more than 10,000 yuan, so she hesitated for a while. Seeing this scene, Qian Daqiang had a sneer on his face, as if his plot had succeeded, and even looked at Li Hao proudly. Li Hao frowned slightly and glanced at this guy lightly. In Li Hao's eyes, the Qian Daqiang in front of him was really like an ant that could be crushed to death by raising his hand. Originally, this guy was pretending to be cool in front of him, so Li Hao didn't care too much. However, this guy actually did it again and again. The ants actually climbed onto my feet. How could this be possible? The next moment, Li Hao laughed lightly, but ignored this guy for the time being. Li Hao looked at Chu King Ai again and said to Chu King Ai, "Do you like it?" When Chu King Ai heard Li Hao's words, Chu King Ai couldn't help being startled, but she still nodded. Then buy it. Try others and see if there are other styles you like. Li Hao immediately said directly. Ah. At this moment, when Chu King Ai heard Li Hao's words, she was stunned again and let out a sound of surprise. Bought? Ah, what? Let's try something else. Li Hao said directly again. Wow, Li Hao, you are so kind. No, brother-in-law. Brother-in-law, you are so kind. Chu King Ai suddenly became excited again, couldn't help but say, and even called out her brother-in-law. What? Brother-in-law? Where are these? Li Hao was also startled and said speechlessly. My senior sister is yours, so naturally you are my brother-in-law. Chu King Ai said seriously, as if it was a matter of course. Li Hao was speechless. He sold your senior sister for just one piece of clothing? Then if I buy you a few more, are you selling yourself? Li Hao didn't think too much, and looked at Ye Hongxiu beside him. You should try it too. Li Hao said directly to Ye Hongxiu. Ye Hongxiu nodded when he heard this, then chose a piece of clothing and walked into the dressing room to try it on. Qian Daqiang on the side heard Li Hao's voice and saw this scene, his expression darkened again. Just bought it right away? Haha, I invested a lot in order to deceive this girl. Qian Daqiang said to Li Hao with a sneer again. Haha. Later you will kneel down and beg for mercy. Li Hao looked at this guy coldly and said lightly. Hearing Li Hao's words, Qian Daqiang's expression couldn't help but change, but he became angry instantly. You asked me to kneel down and beg for mercy? Did I hear you right? How arrogant. I have been in Jiangbei for many years, and even the people from the Chen family in Jiangbei have to give me some face when they see me. No one in Jiangbei has made me kneel down. Who the hell are you? Qian Daqiang suddenly said angrily, and his voice was also very loud. At this moment, when everyone heard the sound here, they couldn't help but look over here. Brother Qiang, what's wrong? Why are you angry? At this time, a tall woman walked over. This woman looked young, but she wore glamorous makeup, a pointed chin, and a tall nose that were even a little unnatural. And this woman was a college student. It was the Xiao San who was supported by Qian Daqiang. What's wrong? At this moment, another middle-aged woman in uniform walked over. The woman had short hair and looked smart and capable. She also had a work badge on her chest. She was the manager of this clothing store. Hello, sir, I am the manager of this store. Please don't make a fuss in our store. If you have any conflicts or disputes with this gentleman, please don't affect our business in our store business as usual. If necessary, I can help call the police. The store manager said directly to Qian Daqiang. I am Jian Daqiang, the general manager of Daqiang Building Materials. This guy said he wanted me to kneel down and beg for mercy. I really want to see how he made me kneel down and beg for mercy. Jian Daqiang said proudly again. Then watch out. But at this moment, Li Hao next to him spoke directly. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Tian Taido. Chapter 391. Li Hao's voice slowly sounded nearby. Li Hao felt that he had been very kind, but when the ants were lying on his feet and wanted to bite him, he had no choice but to trample them to death. However, when dealing with ordinary people, Li Hao would naturally not use the power of cultivation to kill them directly. After Li Hao finished speaking, he took out his mobile phone and found a mobile phone number. Ouch! Are you going to call someone? I want to see who you can call. Jian Daqiang watched Li Hao take out his mobile phone to make a call, but he said confidently. No. There's no need to call someone to make you kneel down. A faint smile appeared on the corner of Li Hao's mouth, and he said slowly. The next moment, Li Hao had already dialed the number. Soon, the other end of the phone rang twice before someone picked up the phone. The head of the Chen family was taking a bath at home, and there were two young and beautiful girls beside him who were rubbing his shoulders. Even though he was a monk, he still knew how to enjoy it like ordinary people. At this moment, his cell phone suddenly turned on. It rang. Who the hell is that? The head of the Chen family was lying comfortably and enjoying himself, but his interest was directly interrupted by this phone call, and he suddenly felt a little unhappy. However, the next moment, he saw the incoming call display on the phone. Damn it, young master. In an instant, the hair on the head of the Chen family stood on end, and his expression suddenly changed. The caller turned out to be the young master Li Hao. Ever since he signed the contract with Li Hao, he has absolutely obeyed Li Hao. Originally, he was a little depressed and painful before, but after he learned about Li Hao's power, he didn't care too much about the contract or anything else. This might also be an opportunity for the Chen family. Young master. What instructions do you have? The head of the Chen family quickly picked up and said respectfully. His obedient look made the two girls beside him widen their eyes. A man's voice came from Li Hao's phone, and his voice was full of excitement. Well, you should know about a man named Jian Daqiang, right? He seems to be the boss of Daqiang Building Materials. Li Hao said directly into the phone. Jian Daqiang of Daqiang Building Materials. I seem to have some impression, but I'm not familiar with him. On the other end of the phone, the head of the Chen family said directly. In that case, let his company cease to exist. Li Hao said lightly. Li Hao believed that with the strength of the Chen family, they should be able to do it. The head of the Chen family on the other end of the phone couldn't help but feel condensed in his heart when he heard Li Hao's words. Yes. Young master. Give me 10 minutes. The head of the Chen family said immediately, feeling that this Daqiang Building Materials was finished, and he didn't know how he offended the young master, but since the young master has spoken, it must be finished. The head of the Chen family knew Li Hao's identity. Not only is he a powerful monk at the master level, he is also the president of Yu Hao Group, the chairman of Shan Shui Group, etc. With any identity, it would be extremely simple for a small building materials company to be destroyed. But since Li Hao called him, it means he thinks highly of him, that means he values him, that means he is lucky, then he must get this thing done. After hanging up the phone, the head of the Chen family also flashed a cold look in his eyes. If you dare to offend your young master, you simply don't want to live. The head of the Chen family, as the former number one person in Jiangbei, still had a lot of energy. He even made a few phone calls and just said a few words. No matter what method, let Daqiang Building Materials go bankrupt immediately. And those who received the call from the head of the Chen family were all big bosses in Jiangbei, and some even worked in special departments. But at this moment, those people all had an idea in their minds. That is, Daekyong building materials is finished, and Qian Daekyong is finished. After Li Hao finished calling the head of the Chen family, he put the phone away. Haha, let my company cease to exist? Who the hell are you trying to fool? You probably didn't even get through to me on the phone, right? You're bluffing. When Qian Daekyong saw this scene, he didn't take it seriously. He naturally didn't believe that his company could cease to exist with just one phone call. Next to them, the shopping guide Li Lin and the store manager looked at the scene and thought it was a bit unlikely, but didn't say anything. However, Qian Daekyong's words had just finished. Ding 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 ding. Qian Daekyong's cell phone rang. Qian Daekyong frowned slightly and couldn't help but feel a little thumped in his heart. But when he saw the caller ID, which showed that the call was from a confidant in his company, Qian Daekyong immediately relaxed and answered the call directly. Hey! Desi, what's the matter? Qian Daekyong asked directly into the phone. However, Qian Daekyong was not finished yet. Sorry, Mr. Qian. Our company's assets have been frozen. On the phone, a voice suddenly rang. What? Assets frozen? How is this possible? Qian Daekyong's face suddenly paled, and his heart suddenly rose to his throat. But before Qian Daekyong finished speaking, a caller ID appeared on the phone. He was a very important partner of his company, and he was also his investor. Desi, let me answer the phone. Wait a minute. Qian Daekyong directly answered the second call. Qian Daekyong, don't hold me back if you want to die. From today on, I will not invest another penny in you, and all previous contracts will be terminated. Before Qian Daekyong could speak, another man's voice sounded on the other end of the phone, with a touch of anger in his voice. Mr. Li, please don't. Don't we cooperate well? Is there some misunderstanding? Qian Daekyong said quickly, his heart suddenly fell to the bottom. What a misunderstanding. You know who you have offended, so you should take care of yourself. As soon as the voice on the other end of the phone finished speaking, he was hung up again. Just when Qian Daekyong was shocked and confused, the phone rang again one after another. Qian Daekyong, if your building materials have quality problems, our contract will be terminated and we will hold you accountable. On the other end of the phone was a call from the boss of one of their largest suppliers. The other party's words directly made Qian Sankin look pale. Quality problem? How is it possible? My building materials are strictly controlled from production to manufacturing, and there are relevant inspections. Qian Daekyong said in disbelief. Before he could finish speaking, the other party hung up the phone again. Immediately afterwards, several more calls came in. Qian Daekyong, you are suspected of tax evasion. Mr. Qian, our capital chain is broken. Qian Daekyong, because, our contract is terminated. Every phone call felt like a heavy blow to Qian Daekyong. Arriving at the back, Qian Daekyong's legs felt weak and he sat down on the ground. It's over, it's over. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Tian Taido. Chapter 392. Qian Daekyong sat down on the ground, his eyes filled with disbelief and incomparable despair. It's over, it's over. Daekyong building materials is finished. How could this happen? Qian Daekyong's face was extremely pale. In just a few minutes, he received 7 or 8 phone calls, all of which contained bad news about his Daekyong building materials. In just a few minutes, Qian Daekyong seemed to have fallen directly from the clouds to the bottom. How could this happen? How could this happen? Qian Daqiang still couldn't believe that his company was over like this, everything was so sudden and without any warning. Various emotions of despair and powerlessness spread in Qian Daqiang's heart. His company has always been running well, and he has not offended anyone. Suddenly, Qian Daqiang's heart skipped a beat again. He suddenly thought of what the two people said on the phone just now. Don't hold him back if you want to die. Who do I offend and no? Qian Daqiang suddenly remembered that he had offended someone right in front of him. Qian Daqiang immediately raised his head, and his eyes fell on the young man in front of him. He saw this young man looking at him with a smile but not a smile, with a touch of coldness in his eyes, and even more mockery. It's you. Did you do it? Qian Daqiang suddenly said sternly to Li Hao, telling him directly that it was the young man in front of him who was responsible. He had just made a phone call. He. When Li Hao saw this scene, he laughed coldly and said slowly. Yes, it's me. So what? Qian Daqiang, I just said, let your company disappear. Do what you say. Li Hao admitted directly. As soon as Li Hao's words came out, Qian Daqiang's face was filled with shock. You, who are you? Qian Daqiang pointed at Li Hao and said in horror, even stammering when he spoke. Is it really him? One phone call ended his Daqiang building materials business. What kind of energy is this? Who is the other party? Brother Qiang, what's wrong with you? Why are you sitting on the ground? Next to him, Qian Daqiang's student girl saw Qian Daqiang sitting on the ground, and suddenly said to Qian Daqiang in shock. My company is finished. Qian Daqiang suddenly said angrily, furious. On the side, the shopping guide Li Lin and the store manager were extremely shocked when they saw this scene. The young man in front of me, one phone call, caused the other party's company to be completely destroyed. You know, this Daqiang building materials is very famous throughout Jiangbei. It is a large building materials company with assets of hundreds of millions, and it is about to collapse because of a phone call from the other party. For a moment, the shopping guide Li Lin and the store manager were both shocked beyond words, and became curious about the identity of the young man in front of them. But at this time, outside, some people in uniforms came in. These people were in ragged suits, looked imposing, and had special department work certificates around their necks. There was a sense of surprise in everyone's eyes, but in the next moment, they saw these people coming directly in front of Li Hao. Hello, Mr. Li. The leader was a middle-aged man wearing a suit with a good temperament. He was a foundation building monk and said respectfully to Li Hao. Who are you? Li Hao didn't know this guy. I'm Xiao Zhang from the Tax Action Division. It's my honor to meet you. The head of the Chen family just called me, so I checked this guy directly. The middle-aged man said directly to Li Hao, and Li Hao understood. After receiving the call from the head of the Chen family, this guy directly checked Qian Daqiang's company, and naturally found out something. This immediately brought people to arrest them. Li Hao nodded lightly. The middle-aged man looked directly at Qian Daqiang on the ground. Qian Daqiang, you are suspected of tax evasion and bribery. Please come back with us and accept investigation. The middle-aged man said directly to Qian Daqiang sternly. I didn't. It must be a misunderstanding. When Qian Daqiang heard what this middle-aged man said, his expression suddenly became extremely ugly again, and he started to panic. There is no chance of misunderstanding. Take him away directly. The middle-aged man said directly to him again. For a moment, several people following behind him directly rushed towards Qian Daqiang. When they grabbed Qian Daqiang, they directly grabbed Qian Daqiang. Qiang was under control, while someone held Qian Daqiang's arm. Misunderstanding. It's a misunderstanding. Brother, I was wrong. I was really wrong. Please let me go. Qian Daqiang was in despair, and he felt extremely regretful. He was really mean, he had to come out and show off. Now it's okay, he offended the wrong people, he really hit the wall, Qian Daqiang said quickly to Li Hao. Li Hao looked at this scene, but a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth again, and he said nothing. When Qian Daqiang saw this scene, he became even more desperate. I was wrong, I was really wrong. Brother, please let me go. I will kneel down for you. Bang. Qian Daqiang struggled and kept talking to Li Hao. Then there was a clear voice, and Qian Daqiang knelt down directly towards Li Hao. That was really kneeling. At this moment, Qian Daqiang didn't know any other way besides kneeling. He shouldn't provoke the other party. Oh my god, Qian Daqiang of Daqiang Building Materials really fell to his knees. Who is that guy? He has so much energy. Holy shit, what happened? Did you really kneel down? He just asked for it? Now he has offended someone he shouldn't have. This scene, when it fell into the eyes of those around, made these people make a sound of surprise. This is a prosperous area, and there is already an endless stream of people. The movement here at this moment directly attracted the people around. Some people directly recognized Qian Daqiang, and saw Qian Daqiang kneeling on in front of the young man. A turmoil suddenly arose in his heart. Huh? Why is this guy kneeling down? At this time, Chu Qing'ai and Ye Hongxiu, who had changed their clothes, came out again. The clothes they changed perfectly brought out their beauty. Chu Qing'ai saw Qian Daqiang kneeling on the ground, and then he said in surprise, "Didn't this guy look very proud just now?" He spoke rudely in front of Li Hao. Of course it was this guy who did it. Ye Hongxiu said calmly, there was nothing unexpected, it seemed normal. As soon as the two women came out, their eyes fell on them again. So beautiful. How can there be two such beautiful women in the world? When these people saw the appearance of the two women, their eyes suddenly brightened, and they secretly thought in their hearts. Haha. I gave you a chance. You don't cherish it? If you had known this, why did you do it before? Li Hao looked at the two women, smiled slightly, looked at Qian Daqiang who was kneeling to him on the ground, and said lightly. Take it away. Don't be an eyesore here. Li Hao said directly to the middle-aged man from the tax operations office next to him calmly. Take away. When the middle-aged man heard Li Hao's words, he immediately said to his men. After the words fell, these men directly held Qian Daqiang, suppressed Qian Daqiang with strong force, making him unable to resist at all, and then walked outside with Qian Daqiang lowered. Ah! You can't take me away. Qian Daqiang suddenly screamed in terror again and struggled, but to no avail. Who the hell are you? Qian Daqiang's eyes turned red and he shouted angrily at Li Hao again. When Li Hao heard the other party's words, his face showed sarcasm again, but he did not answer. You can't afford to offend someone. Do you know Yu Hao Group? The middle-aged man couldn't help but say. As he said, as the director of the Tax Action Division, he knew Li Hao's identity. Any identity could scare people to death. Yu Hao Group. Qian Daqiang was shocked. Yu Hao Group? The world's largest hotel group. Assets worth hundreds of billions. The most awesome hotel leader? It seems that those big hotels in Shanglaxi are properties under the Yu Hao Group, right? Not only him, but also the people around him looked curious, looking at this middle-aged man with expectation in their eyes. The middle-aged man glanced at Li Hao tentatively, and when he saw that Li Hao didn't seem to care, he continued. Mr. Li is a shareholder of Yu Hao Group and also the president of Yu Hao Group. After the middle-aged man finished speaking, another voice of exclamation suddenly resounded. What? He is the president of Yu Hao Group. Oh my god. He is actually a shareholder of Yu Hao Group. How rich is he? Dot. When Li Hao heard the voices of these people, he seemed calm and unsurprised, but he felt very comfortable in his heart. Invisible pretense is the most deadly. At this moment, Qian Deqiang's whole body trembled. The CEO of Yu Hao. Yu Hao is a large company in the world. The leader in the hotel industry is not something that a small building materials company can compare to. No wonder the other party has so much energy. No wonder the other party could afford that tens of $1 million watch in the first place. Do you know Shan Shui Group? But at this moment, I heard the middle-aged man speak slowly again. What? Shan Shui Group? That super large multinational group? A group with investments all over the world? There are hundreds or even thousands of subsidiaries. Could it be that this Shan Shui Group is too? When those people around heard the middle-aged man's words, they couldn't help but trembled in their hearts and lost their voices. As for Qian Deqiang, his whole person was extremely pale and full of despair. In the expectant eyes of everyone, the middle-aged man said again. Yes, Mr. Li is also the chairman of Shan Shui Group and the largest shareholder. As the middle-aged man finished speaking. What? The largest shareholder of Shan Shui Group. Even the Shan Shui Group belongs to him. Oh my God. Boss. Please take my knee off. I'm going to kneel too. Hiss. Shocking sounds came from these people's mouths again, and there were even constant gasps of cold air. Chairman of Shan Shui Group. How is this possible? This is absolutely not true. What kind of existence did I provoke? When Qian Deqiang heard this, he was so desperate that he could not stand firmly on his feet and was shaking constantly. Not true, absolutely not true. The next moment, Qian Deqiang kept mumbling, but his vision went dark and he fainted. Humph. I haven't even finished speaking yet and now I'm fainting? I really deserve it? Seeing Qian Deqiang fainted, the middle-aged man said in a deep voice again. That's almost it? Next to him, Li Hao's voice came again. He didn't want all of his identity to be exposed. Next, Qian Deqiang was taken away directly by the people from the tax action office, leaving Qian Deqiang's junior student girl, who was also collapsed and sitting on the ground, uttering unbearable pain. How could this happen? She has just become the woman supported by this wealthy man, she has just embraced this big man, and she is looking forward to getting whatever she wants in the future, buying whatever she wants, and being able to live a life of wealth and freedom. But who would have thought that in a matter of seconds, Qian Deqiang's company would collapse, and Qian Deqiang's people would also be arrested? I really lost my wife and lost my troops. Li Hao took Ye Hongxiu and Chu Qing'ai to choose clothes. As for the people around him, their eyes looking at Li Hao were full of passion, especially some pretty women. Wow, this is a walking boss. Well, a walking billionaire. He is so handsome. I love him so much. I wish I could become his girlfriend. Are you thinking about shit? Didn't you see the two beauties next to him? Can you compete? Everyone looked at Li Hao differently. Li Hao, on the other hand, didn't pay attention to these people and looked at the two women who had changed their clothes again. Good looking. So good looking. She really looks good and looks good in anything she wears. Li Hao said to the two women, who had already changed into 2 or 3 sets, and each set was so beautiful. What should I do? What should I do? These clothes are so beautiful. Chu Qing'ai looked at herself in the mirror and said happily. Buy it. It's not us who gives the money anyway, isn't there a rich man here? Ye Hongxiu said directly again, and immediately looked at Li Hao. You say so? Yes, yes, yes. Li Hao quickly said yes. How much does this cost? Li Hao asked directly to Li Lin, the shopping guide beside him. This one is 9,080. Li Lin replied directly. I'm too lazy to try. Let's do this, you buy 2 sets of all the new models in this store, no, 3 sets. 3 sets? I bought them all. Li Hao said directly to the shopping guide Li Lin. Huh? What? Li Lin's eyes widened when she heard Li Hao's words. Mr. Li, all the new models? 3 sets? Bought them all. Li Lin asked in disbelief. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Tian Taido. Chapter 393. Chapter 392 Damn, Grandmaster Li, please collect and subscribe. All the new styles in the store, please buy 3 sets. As soon as Li Hao finished speaking, everyone present was shocked. How many new styles are there in the store? I'm afraid there are hundreds of sets. And this is a brand women's clothing, not a roadside stall, the price of each piece of clothing is not cheap. Li Hao, all the styles, please buy 3 sets? Are you kidding? But there are 2 of us. When Chu King I heard what Li Hao said, her eyes widened, and her beautiful eyes were full of surprise. Yes, you heard it right, all the new styles, please buy 3 sets, and buy your senior sisters together? I'm too lazy to bother. Li Hao said directly. Wow, brother-in-law, you are so nice. Hearing this, Chu King I was excited and happy again. Let's go, calculate how much is the total. Li Hao said to the shopping guide Li Lin beside him. Ah. Okay, okay. Li Lin was immediately excited. How much would it cost to buy 3 sets of all the new models? It would cost millions. This order is her annual volume. This month's commission would be quite a lot. Soon, the cost was calculated. Hello, Mr. Li, this year, our store has a total of 89 new models. If there are 3 sets of each model, there are a total of 267 sets, and the total price is 2.19 million yuan. Originally, these new models were not discounted, but you bought so many, and you are already a supreme member of our store. I will give you a 20% discount, a total of 1.75 million yuan. The store manager came directly to Li Hao and said. Yes. No problem. Let's go and check out. Li Hao nodded lightly, and then walked to the cashier. Oh my God, 3 sets of each new model? Is this true? What a rich guy. Are you really going to pay? When the people around saw this scene, they were shocked again, and their eyes fell on Li Hao, and they said in surprise. The next moment. Ding. Soon, the sound of successful card swiping sounded. Payment successful. Mr. Li, the payment has been successful. Here is your receipt. Please give me a place to live. We will pack these clothes and send them to you. The store manager said respectfully to Li Hao again. For such a big customer, door-to-door delivery is a must. Well. The address is Villa number 13, Jiangbei number 1 Courtyard. Li Hao said lightly. Oh my God, he actually paid. That's more than 1.7 million. He didn't even blink, so humming rich. When the people around saw Li Hao's successful payment, they couldn't help but exclaimed again. Finally, under the spotlight of everyone, Li Hao took Ye Hongxiu and the 2 girls out of the women's clothing store. In the following time. Wow, milk tea, I want to drink it, I want to drink it. What is this, it looks so fragrant. This is delicious. Shopping, in addition to eating, is drinking. The 2 girls are new to the world, no matter what, the 2 girls who were originally not worldly, have a little more worldly atmosphere. And the 2 girls have even put on the new clothes they just bought, but they still look so dazzling. This shopping lasted for several hours, during which time Li Hao even took the 2 girls to the cinema in Shanghai to watch a movie. when Li Hao took Ye Hongxiu and Chu King Ai out and prepared to drive back. A figure appeared in front of the three again. It was the glasses man who wanted Ye Hongxiu and Chu King Ai to be internet celebrities in his company before. "See you again, what a coincidence," the man with glasses said directly to the three people, but his eyes fell on Ye Hongxiu and Chu King Ai. Such beautiful women are really rare, so they must be brought to their company. After he called their boss, he actually squatted here to wait for the three people. He noticed that the other party's car was parked here before. The boss of the man with glasses company has also come, but because of the hot weather, he can come down in 5 minutes in a nearby tea house. Coincidence. Haha, you are waiting here, right? What? Wasn't it enough to be beaten before? Li Hao saw this man with glasses, but the corners of his mouth showed a hint of coldness, and he said directly. When the man with glasses heard Li Hao's words, his face changed again. "Sure enough, you were the one who did it before. But I'm not alone now," the man with glasses said directly again, and at this time, the man with glasses waved in a direction not far away. Immediately, some figures in black clothes came over from that side, more than 10 figures in total, and they looked quite imposing. Soon, these figures came in front of the few people. "Brother Hu, it's them. It was this guy who beat me up before. These two women are the ones that Mr. Zhang likes," the man with the eyes said directly to the leading man, and he made a fuss. The leading man looked young, about 30 years old, with a strong body, but he was full of an extraordinary temperament, and was a congenital warrior. And the people following this man are also warriors. However, in Li Hao's eyes, both innate warriors and acquired warriors are no different from ants. Huh? The woman that Mr. Zhang is interested in is really beautiful. The man glanced at Ye Hongxiu and the two and sighed. "Two beauties, come with us. We, Mr. Zhang, want to see you too," the man said directly to Ye Hongxiu and Chu King Ai, his voice filled with undoubt. "What if we don't?" At this time, Ye Hongxiu said calmly, with a smile on his face. "No. Then you can't blame me," the man at the head said in a deep voice again. "Oh? In broad daylight, do you still want to rob a civilian girl?" Chu King Ai next to him laughed again when he heard the other party's words and said. "So what if we robbed him? In the whole Jiangbei, who dares to offend our Mr. Zhang?" the man said proudly again, unscrupulously. "Haha. Master, they are not even monks, but they still want to rob us?" It really made me laugh to death. But at this time, Chu King Ai couldn't help laughing when she heard the other party's words. In Chu King Ai's eyes, the other party was like an ant. But when the man opposite heard Chu King Ai's words, his brows wrinkled again. "Not even a monk? What does this mean?" The next moment, the man's heart suddenly jumped again. Could it be that the other party is a monk? How is this possible? There are no monks in the whole of Jiangbei. Apart from the Chen family and the Southwest Guards, there seems to be no monks left. "Two beauties, I'm sorry. Come with us." Then, the man spoke directly to the people behind him. "Take it away directly and bring it to Mr. Zhang." "Yes. Brother Tiger." For a moment, the men immediately surrounded the two women. Well. But at this moment, another sigh came from the side. "You really don't know how to live or die." Li Hao shook his head slightly and said calmly, preparing to let these people lie down directly. "I want to see how you want to rob me, girl." However, Chu King Ai stood up directly and said proudly. Boom. At the same time, a majestic momentum was released directly from Chu King Ai's body. At this moment, Chu King Ai's aura of the Dan formation realm was released without reservation. At this moment, the faces of the people in front suddenly became extremely pale. A terrifying pressure fell directly on their bodies, and they felt a suffocating feeling. It was absolutely terrifying. The aura on the other side was even more terrifying than the aura of the master next to Mr. Zhang. Boom. Come on. Come over here. Chu King Ai said sharply again. Bang. But as Chu King Ai's voice fell, Chu King Ai's eyes burst out with a sharp light again, and an invisible force suddenly fell on these people. Poof. Ah. Ah. In an instant, one after another figures flew backwards directly as if they had been hit hard, screaming and spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. This scene fell into the eyes of those around them, but it made their hearts extremely shocked. Oh my God, what is going on? Aren't those people so aggressive? Why did they just fly out? What happened? It's that woman. Is that woman the legendary monk? Dot. The uproarious sounds kept ringing again. How so? The scene was a bit chaotic. Those figures who were trying to take Chu King Ai and the two men with them just now, without exception, were lying on the ground, their bodies were full of embarrassment, and their expressions were extremely painful. Friar. She is a monk. Call Mr. Zhang quickly, he's a monk. These people were directly injured, and they all looked at Chu King Ai in horror, shouting in silence that only monks could allow them to be directly injured without any resistance. Trash, what a waste. You can't even bring a woman here. But at this moment, another middle-aged man with a big belly came down from a nearby tea house. He was wearing designer clothes and trousers, and he seemed to have the aura of a superior. At this moment, this middle-aged man saw these men on the ground. Suddenly said sternly, looking a little ugly. This man is the Mr. Zhang mentioned by the bespectacled man and others. His name is Zhang Qiang. He is also their boss and the chairman of Dongara Media. He is a person with wide connections and great energy. Next to Zhang Qiang, stood a middle-aged man wearing a plain robe. He looked very good-looking, with dragon-like eyebrows and phoenix-like eyes, and he was domineering. This man was Master Mo, whom Mr. Zhang had just invited to help him recently. Whose name is Mo Xian. Mr. Zhang, she is a monk. This woman must be a monk. On the ground, the man called Brother Hu by the man with glasses, whose name was Wang Hu, suddenly said to Zhang Qiang. Huh? Monk. When Zhang Qiang heard Wang Hu's words, he couldn't help but be shocked again. His eyes immediately fell on Chu King Ai. He was also an innate warrior and could feel the extraordinary things about him. Zhang Qiang's eyes couldn't help but light up again, because the other person's appearance was indeed what the man with the eyes said. Such stunning beauty was extremely rare. The other woman next to him was also like this. It was really rare. If this woman was still a monk, if she could stay with him and have this Master Mo, wouldn't Zhang Qiang be afraid of no one? Even if you are facing the head of the Chen family, you still have to think carefully. Thinking of this, Zhang Qiang couldn't help but feel a touch of excitement in his heart. If this woman could be used by him, then he could go sideways across Jiangbei. Two beauties, I am Zhang Qiang, the chairman of Dongara Media. I don't mean any harm. I just want these two beauties to help me get out of the movie. I can give you 5 million a year. Zhang Qiang immediately said to Chu King Ai and the others. Not interested. Chu King Ai said calmly. Huh? You really don't know how to appreciate it? Zhang Qiang's expression suddenly changed, and he immediately spoke to Mo Xian next to him. Master Mo, it seems I can only leave it to you. In Zhang Qiang's opinion, this Mo Xian should have no problem dealing with the woman in front of him. You must know that this Mo Xian is a powerful monk in the late stage of the foundation establishment realm, even more powerful than the leader of the Chen family in Jiangbei. However, surprisingly, as Zhang Qiang finished speaking, Mo Xian did not respond, but looked closely at the woman in front of him. A strange color flashed in Mo Xian's eyes. Looking at this woman's appearance, for some reason, Mo Xian felt a familiar feeling in his heart. It seemed like he had seen this woman somewhere, but for a moment, Mo Xian didn't remember it. Immediately, Mo Xian's eyes fell on the other woman behind this woman. This was a woman with an even more stunning appearance. But inexplicably, Mo Xian had a familiar feeling again. As a foundation-building monk, Mo Xian knew that since they were familiar, he and the other party must have met somewhere. Where have you seen it? Mo Xian still didn't think of it for a while and frowned, but Mo Xian didn't know that the reason why she didn't think of it for a while was because the two women in front of her had changed their clothes. Inadvertently, Mo Xian glanced at the boy standing next to the two women. Damn it! When Mo Xian saw Li Hao's appearance, he couldn't help but cursed in his heart. Isn't this the newly promoted Grand Master? He is also the first Grand Master of Dehua, a powerful being who defeated Zhao Tianxian. In Mo Xian's mind, the shocking battle in the secret realm still appeared, and the young man in front of him was so magnificent. Grand Master Li 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 Li.